Hello, here we are at our very last fractions lesson for a while. Well done for getting this far. What we're going to be doing in this lesson is looking at solving problems that involve fractions. So, in other words, we're going to look at some wordy questions. Okay, there's always a technique to answering these kind of questions, and we need to practice them because we often come across these in exams. So, first of all, I haven't listed the learning outcomes for the topic. I think we've seen those enough times now, and I think we've got far enough through it that we know what we need to be able to do. So let's just get straight on with the questions. Our first question is, there are 30 students in a class. 20 of these students are female. Find the fraction of the class that is female. Give your answer in its simplest form. Okay, so we need to know, for example, that we've got 30 students in the class. 20 of these students are female. Okay, so find the fraction of the class that is female. What that means is we need the number of female people in the class out of, because it says of the class, so out of the whole class. Okay, so all we do is we say, basically it's kind of making sense anyway, because we're going to say that 20 out of 30 people in this class are female. Okay, so 20/30ths of the class are female, and if we're going to give this answer in its simplest form, we need to spot the biggest times table that 20 and 30 are both in, so that would be the 10 times table, and divide top and bottom by 10 gives us 2/3. So what we can say is that in this particular class, 2/3 of the class are female. Okay, so that's our final answer. Next question. In a shop, the normal price of a jacket is £60. I'm going to circle that. The cost of the jacket in a sale is 3/4 of the normal price. So the cost of the jacket in a sale is 3/4 of the normal price. So we need to work out 3/4 of £60, and that'll tell us what the cost of the jacket is in the sale. So we need to work out, it says here, 3/4 of £60 have told us what to do. Remember, 3/4 means we need to split our £60 into 4 equal pieces, and we need to choose 3 of them. So we're going to do 60 divided by 4, and then when we get our answer, we're going to multiply that by 3. So 4 into 6 goes once, with 2 left over, and then 4 into 20 goes 5 times. So 1/4 of 60 is 15. Okay, but we don't want 1/4, we want 3/4. So we're going to do 15 times 3. However way you work that out doesn't really matter. We're going to get 45. And remember, we're dealing with pounds. Okay, so the answer there is £45. When you've got a wordy question, it's always worth looking back at the question and just making sure you've answered exactly what they were asking for. Okay, so this question here asked us to work out 3/4 of £60, and we have done that. It's £45. And that would be the sale price of the jacket, because it's 3/4 of the normal price. Now, our next question is quite a long one. I'll just show you that. There's a few different bits to it, so we're going to do it one bit at a time. So first of all, there are 800 people on the train at Manchester. Okay, 1/10 of these 800 people are children. So the first job is to work out 1/10 of 800, and that'll tell us how many children there are. So remember, to find a tenth, you always divide by the number on the bottom. So 800 divided by 10. Remember to divide by 10. If your number ends with a 0 anyway, you just lose that 0, so that will give you 80. Or you can think about moving your digits one place to the right. Doesn't matter what way around you do it, you get 80. And that's children. 80 children. Okay? Then we're told that 3/8 of those 800 people are women. So 3/8 of 800 are women. And that's what we've got to find next. 3/8, work out 3/8 of 800. Okay? So remember, to work out a fraction of an amount, we take our amount, we divide it by the bottom, and then when we've got that answer, we multiply it by the top. Okay, so 800 divided by 8, we can do like this, or we can do it in our heads, it doesn't matter. 8 into 8 goes 1, 8 into 0 goes 0, and 8 into 0 goes 0. So that would give us 100. So 1/8 of 800 is 100, but then we need to times that by 3, and that just gives us 300. So remember, 3/8 of those people are women, so there are 300 women. Okay, the reason I'm putting children and women in brackets is because the question doesn't ask us how many children are there. It says work out 1/10 of 800. So the answer to that is 80, but I've just made a note at the side that that's how many children there are. In the second bit, we were asked to work out 3/8 of 800. We were not asked to work out how many women were on the train. So when we've worked out our answer, the answer is 300, but just to help us, I've put women there. Now the rest of the 800 people are men. Work out the number of men on the train. Well, we've got 80 children and we've got 300 women. So altogether, we've got 380 women and children, haven't we? So it says the rest of the people on the train are men. So that means that of our 800, if we take away 380, then that'll tell us how many people are left, and they are all the men. So 0 take away 0 is 0. 0 take away 8 we can't do, remember, so we've got to do a bit of borrowing. So we've got to borrow from that 8 to give to that 0. So now we've got 10 take away 8 is 2, and 7 take away 3 is 4. So this question said, work out the number of men on the train, so our answer has to be 420 men are on the train. And that doesn't go in brackets because the question asks, work out the number of men on the train. Okay. All right, got another few questions I want to go through, and then you're going to have the rest of the lesson to work through some questions yourselves. So the next one, number 4, a box contains 200 tissues. Toby takes 3/5 of these tissues. Work out how many tissues he takes. So we just need to look at the question carefully. So we're asked how many tissues he takes. We're told he takes 3/5 of 200, so that's what we need to write down. So before we work anything out, we should be writing down what it is we're going to work out, because that's part of showing our working, and usually there are marks for getting your working correct, which are very, very important when we're adding up marks at the end of an assessment. So 3/5 of 200. So remember, to find a fraction of an amount, divide by the bottom, multiply by the top. So we're going to do 200 divided by 5, and then when we get our answer, we're going to multiply that by 3. So first of all, actually I'm just going to make that a bit bigger, so I've got more space. So 200 divided by 5. Right, so 5 into 2 doesn't go. So we can put a 0 there if we want, but we have to carry that 2. So now we're looking at 5 into 20. So 5 into 20 goes 4 times. So we've got a 4 there, and it goes in exactly 4 times, so there's nothing to carry. And then 5 into 0 goes no times. So 1/5 of 200 is 40. So if we need to find out 3/5, we need to do 40 times 3. which is quite straightforward because 0 times 3 is 0 and 4 times 3 is 12. So Toby takes 120 tissues, and that's what we should write because we need to be really careful that we're answering the question that's been asked. It's not enough, when you've got a context question, it's not enough to do a bit of maths and then just leave it there on the page. You've got to explain why you did the maths in terms of what the answer to the question is. Okay, last one of these type of questions that we're doing now. So a young person's rail card gives you 1/3 off the normal price. Okay, so if you've got one of these rail cards, you get 1/3 off the normal price. So it says Lisa uses her rail card to buy a ticket. She gets 1/3 off the normal price of the ticket. The normal price of the ticket is £24.90. And work out how much Lisa pays for the ticket. So the important things here are it's 1/3 off and the normal price of the ticket is £24.90. A couple of different ways around doing this, but we're just going to do it the most straightforward way, I think. So we need to find 1/3 of £24.90 so we can take that amount off. So remember, to find 1/3 we divide by 3. So 24, and again I'm just going to do that a bit bigger, £24.90 divided by 3 to find 1/3. So we're saying, how many 3s are in 2? Well, there's no 3s in 2, but we're going to need to carry that 2 on, aren't we? So now we're saying how many 3s are in 24. If we go up our 3 times table, we find out that there are 8 3s in 24. There's exactly 8. We put our points in line when we're dividing, and then we're saying how many 3s are in 9. 3 3s are 9, so there's a 3 there, and that goes in exactly, nothing to carry. And then how many 3s are in 0? Well, 0. So £8.30 is 1/3 of £24.90, but remember, she gets 1/3 off the price of the ticket, and we're asked how much Lisa pays for the ticket. Not how much she gets off, but how much she pays for it. So we now need to do £24.90, take away the amount that she gets off, which is £8.30. So we need to take away that discount. Okay, so we're doing 0 take away 0 is 0. Then 9 take away 3 is 6. Keep our points in line. 4 take away 8 we can't do, so we need to borrow. So we'll borrow from the 2 and give it to the 4. So 14 take away 8 is 6. And then 1 take away 8, there's actually nothing in that space there. So 1 take away 0 is 1. So the amount Lisa pays for the ticket is £16.60, but we need to say that. Okay, we need to say Lisa pays £16.60 for the ticket. And if we write that little sentence at the end, it makes us look like we really know what we're talking about. It makes us appear confident. It proves that we've read the question and understood the question, and that we are able to express our answer in a helpful way. Now, the next thing we're going to go on to is comparing fractions. This is the last bit that we're going to look at. We've got 2 questions here, and then you've got the rest of the lesson to work on context questions yourselves. So, first of all, Joe has 3/8 of a pizza, Kim has 2/5. Who has more pizza? So what we're trying to do is work out which is bigger, 3/8 or 2/5. But it's very difficult to compare that, isn't it? Because if we think about it, they're both just a bit less than half, but it's very difficult to say which one has more pizza. Okay, so what we need to do is express these fractions with a common denominator. What that means is basically make equivalent fractions and get them over the same number. Okay, so what we need to do is find a number that is in the 8 times table and in the 5 times table. So if we just write out the first few numbers in the 8 times table, and then if we write the 5 times table, we need to keep going. I haven't got a number that's in both yet. There you go. 40 is in both. Okay, so we need to express 3/8 as a number of 40ths and 2/5 as a number of 40ths, and then we can compare. So remember, when we're creating equivalent fractions, we have to multiply the top and the bottom by the same amount. So whatever you've multiplied 8 by to get 40, you have to multiply the 3 by the same amount. So 8 times what is 40? Well, we can look here. We've got our 8 times table. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've multiplied by 5 on the bottom, and then we have to multiply by 5 on the top. So we do 3 times 5 is 15. So 3/8 is 15/40. Next, on to the 2/5. We do the same thing. We work out what we've multiplied by to make 40, and we multiply by the same amount on the top. So 5 times what is 40? And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So multiply by 8. So we have to multiply the top by 8 as well. So 2 times 8 is 16. So now we can say that Joe's 3/8 is 15/40, and that Kim's 2/5 is 16/40. So who gets more pizza? Well, we can say quite clearly now, Kim gets more pizza, or Kim has more pizza. As she has, 16/40, but Joe has 15/40. Okay, squish that up a bit, didn't I? Right, next one. Put these fractions in order, smallest to largest. So we need to do the same as we did with the last 2 fractions. We need to find a common denominator. Okay, so we need to find a number that is in the 3 times table, that's in the 9 times table, and it's in the 12 times table. So what I reckon is the easiest way to do this is to pick the biggest number, okay, and start writing down the times table. So 12, 24, and then have a think. Does 9 go into 24? It doesn't, does it? 3 does, but 3 goes into 12. So we need to keep going. So the next one in the 12 times table is 36. Does 9 go into 36? Well, it does. 36 is in the 9 times table. So 9, 18, 27, 36. And 36 is also in the 3 times table, but I'm not going to write out the whole 3 times table till we get there. Okay, so what we need to do is change each of these to an amount of 36. And then we'll be able to put them in order, won't we? And just get rid of that, that's not a good 3. That's better. Right, so 1/3 into 36. So what we're doing is saying, what did we multiply the 3 by to get 36? Well, that's multiplied by 12. So we need to multiply the top by 12 as well. So 1 times 12 is 12. Okay. The next one, we need to say, what have we done to 9 to get 36? And we can see here, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 9s are 36. We've multiplied by 4. So we need to multiply the 2 by 4 as well. 2 times 4 is 8. Next, 12 times what is 36? Well, we can see here, 1, 2, 3. So times by 3. So we need to multiply the 5 by 3, which will give us 15. So what we've got is 12 36, 8 36, and 15 36. So if we put them in order, smallest to largest, then we've got 8 36, then 12 36, and then 15 36. in other words, the 8/36 was the 2/9, the 12/36 was the 1/3, and the 15/36 was the 5/12. So that's putting the fractions in order, smallest to largest. It wouldn't be okay to leave it at this because they're not the fractions we were given originally. We would need to put them back into the form that they were given in the question. Okay, so what we've looked at there is comparing fractions. So the only job left for us to do today is quite a big job, and that is to do some of these wordy questions. So I'm going to leave it up to you. If you're working at home, you can move the video on when you want to. If you're working in class, the adults in the class can arrange to move the video on so you can see all of the questions. There are a lot of questions here. I'm not expecting you to get through them all, but I would like you to get through some of the comparing fractions ones. They do go on right up to there. And there's other questions as well after that to do with finding fractions of amounts. So I'm going to say that you should pause the video just now and do some of these questions. And then after that, it's up to you how quickly you go through these. So I'll just pause the video, leave it on this for a bit, move it on. Okay, so good luck with that. And now we've got the answers. Big well done from me. That's the end of fractions. See you soon.